long runs, lots of laps consecutively on heavy fuel, but they weren't able to do that this weekend because of an incident-filled second free practice last night. A damp track, a couple of red flags, and they lost significant time. But no one seems terribly concerned about that. They just want you to know that's what happened.
We just saw a little wiggle there from Lewis Hamilton, proving my point that there are patches that could catch you out quite simply. There you go again on the Haas, and how long would you ascertain it would take before we actually get a dry line, do you think?
That's a great question, honestly. It just depends on how many cars are running, right? The more cars that run, the quicker the track will dry. But again, as we said earlier, these are really difficult conditions, and again, it's how much do you really want to take the risk? We've got qualifying coming up later. I don't know if it's going to rain anymore, but if it doesn't, all this wet weather running might be irrelevant.
Well, the Mercedes of George Russell in no rush to repeat his topping of the times as he did last year, and well, they've been there or thereabouts. They certainly feel confident, but so too do McLaren, which is a bit of a surprise, really. They've been definitely more competitive than they were last year, and Norris, of course, topping the times last time out.
Yeah, no question. McLaren has been the dominant team and the biggest story of this 2025 season, but their work is not yet done. Yesterday, Zach Brown, the team CEO, told a crowd gathered over at the Heineken stage that the team's goal is first and second in the Drivers' Championship to go with the Constructors' World title that they won earlier this year. Look at that car squirming.
Yeah.
It's a great view here with Oscar Piastri to truly just see where the dry parts are and what might be the most difficult parts of the track.
You know, you don't often think of free practice 3 as being a critical 1 hour. It's critical in terms of data, but I was just saying, 2 hours and 50 minutes before qualifying is not a lot of time if you have a problem, and certainly if you hit the wall and have to repair the car.
Still able to brake quite deep at the end of the straight there, but you can just see on power, it's a real struggle to just get all the horsepower down to the ground.
Yeah, you can hear the wheel spin.
Yeah, check the chance of more rain, and it's just 10%, so not really worried about that coming in.
Gets
a bit heavier after midnight, but
very nervous on the swing.
Tyre is starting to die already, says Piastri.
Notice the green stripe on the inner sidewall with those onboard shots. That's the intermediate tire, lightly treaded for conditions like this. Damp, but not fully wet. For that, they have full-on wet tires with a blue stripe.
And here's the man of the moment. 24 points he leads the championship by. 390 points to Oscar Piastri, 366, and Max, of course, in third, and still just mathematically in the hunt, has 341. But he's only 25 points away from this man, and that's critical. It would be a real shame to see Piastri drop to third, but with the kind of form that Verstappen has shown in the last few races, you wouldn't count it out.
It's Esteban Ocon, one of the Haas Ferraris.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we're obviously going to focus on the championship itself, but I thought it was interesting that there's just 20 points separating 6th to 9th as we look at the Haas in that fight.
And those points are so important. Those positions in the championship to those teams mean a great deal, especially heading into a year where you're fully resetting and rebuilding into a new era of car.
Saying that this section here around the sphere is probably the trickiest and the place where you can most make up or lose time if you get it wrong.
These cars are in such low downforce configurations that at lower speeds you're definitely not producing as much grip, and so that would be a difficult area of the track.
Well, let me ask you this: low grip, high speed. How do you go about setting up for that, for those two combinations?
Well, I mean, honestly, when you have such low downforce in the car, you really rely heavily on the mechanical side. So what do you have underneath the bodywork? How are we going to generate? Because on the aero side, you want to be going as fast as possible down those straights, so you're not giving up any time down the longest straight, what seems like in the world.
We've also had the fastest top speed of over 220 miles an hour down this long straight. So yeah, it's definitely one of the fastest tracks of the weekend.
Well, here we are coming up on 8 minutes gone in this 60-minute session. And if you're looking at that pylon on the left of your screens, or our big screens here at the track, you can see that half the field is still in the pit. With the P.
Yeah, and right now when we look at the lap times, that was a bit of a moment there for Lewis.
Big moment.
Just having a look at what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Where'd I leave my car?
Yeah.
But lap time wise, you know, we did 33s yesterday, 133s, and now we're in the 147. So still quite a ways off of where you'd make the switch to slick tires.
Big slide there.
I believe the old rule was once you get within 10 seconds on intermediates or wet tires, it's probably time to switch to dries.
The crossover point.
Yes.
Every team will sit in the garage and pound on their calculators to determine when would be the right time to switch to a faster tire.
We're perched just across from the corner that the McLaren went through, and I was looking it up today. This where we are. We can hardly make them out as they come past.
Hamilton goes to the top of the charts. For the Ferrari team that is growing increasingly tense about a season with just 3 full Grand Prix and 1 sprint race to try to pick another victory.
Go on, Lando. Yeah, and I think, I was thinking about this. It was compounded, I think, for Ferrari that we had a year for everybody to think about Hamilton coming to Ferrari because he announced so early. And then when he got there and it was a bit of a damn squib, in terms of results, I think it just compounded how everybody felt, including Hamilton, about being a Ferrari driver. This is a man who needs some luck. Just watching his first 2 practices, he just didn't get any clear laps in, and he's been very fast.
Yeah, the Williams do seem to have some pace this weekend, and that's really exciting for that team.
Yeah.
Both cars were fast yesterday. You can definitely tell that they're happy with their car here.
Yeah, I was reading their press release. It was just saying, that they felt really comfortable with the balance. They weren't talking about top speed or anything like that. It was just, it feels good. It feels right.
Just feeding in the throttle.
Changing the brake migration there on the steering wheel. That happens a lot when these conditions are mixed.
Well, we're going into that sphere section now that I was talking about.
It does look very slick, honestly, that section. It's almost like it's so cold out.
Well, also, I think the spheres is protecting the dampness, if you will, because it's such a big building. But it is taking up a lot of sunshine stroke air, and I would say it will remain damp down there in that section for perhaps longer than those that are actually getting some either neon light or some sunlight from previous hours.
Nine cars still have not ventured out. No doubt they want to see what other people are doing with their tires.
Well, it just shows you how last year's winner Russell is. Not turning a wheel yet. And likewise, his teammate Antonelli.
Earlier, George Russell with a headset on, so no doubt he's hearing what this 20-year-old kid, a Formula One Grand Prix race winner about the conditions on track.
Which is ironic because he's never been here.
Right.
We're getting close to that 10-second away from the quick time yesterday. So, but the problem is as well, you don't want to waste your slick tires either, because if you go out on the first run on these slicks, it's still quite wet down there.
Look at the rears spinning.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the main reason that someone like Russell wouldn't bother, because you're not going to learn anything on this tyre particularly.
Exactly. So it's a difficult situation for these teams. Do they want to waste a set of slick tires just helping them, basically helping the series drive the track? Or, can they learn anything? Is the track dry enough in certain sectors, in Sector 1 compared to Sector 3, that maybe you can gain some information from the car?
Whoop, I need to... Almost dry, almost ready for slicks.
Okay, there you go. That's just answered our question. Thank you.
Carlos Sainz sliding everywhere. I think it's just about right. I should correct myself. George Russell's teammate, Kimi Antonelli, just went on track. What do we have here?
A very slow Williams, making sure he stayed out of the way today.
Looking for that all-important toe of these long straightaways.
Yeah, does it vary from track to track when you pick up the toe? I mean, obviously that's, it seems obvious. You're going down the straight, you're trying to get a toe, and if you're within, I don't know, 1.5 lengths, you're going to get the toe. Or is it different at every track?
It is different at every track, but I mean, even in the F1 Academy qualifying last night, you saw how powerful the toe, the draft was. I mean, the pole time came from a massive toe down the back straight, and these Formula One teams will be looking for the same thing. If they're struggling for that extra 2-3 tenths, and one of the drivers happens to nail the straight, it's really hard to fight that unless you kind of, you use your teammate and you do some strategy to make it happen.
Fantastic shot there, looking down.
Right now, on the long backstretch, there's a line of very fast cars. Hamilton, Norris, Verstappen, Antonelli, and Piastri.
Yep, you can see them now. Here they all are. Yep. Verstappen in the middle, just behind the Haas. Ferrari ahead of him.
And once again, all the cars seem to find each other. And
Yes.
There's a massive, massive gap on the track that no one's found. A lot of folks volunteering to go on slick tires.
Be advisable to be out there on your intermediates. Yeah, you have a limited number of them, but hopefully you're not going to use them, right? Unless they call it a wet race in which you get abundant tires. But, I mean, if you just want laps, put on the inters and go.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is a track that, not a lot of laps get to be done other than this race weekend. So you got to try to get some learning in. If there is some data that they can gather with these tires, might as well get it if they can.
Yeah, I'm sure the rookies just won track time with a curtailed FP2 yesterday. I want to be out there and going, I'm still not sure about 15 or 16 or whatever.
Drivers will learn something every lap, no matter what.
Yep. The problem that Leclerc had yesterday was, well, they said at the time, was gearbox, but that's a straight fix and no penalty and no drama, right?
We certainly hope so for them.
I'm not ready. He was fast.
Trying to carry speed in there, just the fronts just didn't quite have enough grip for them. These tires are taking a beating.
Well, we mentioned yesterday these 3 sets of dry tires. I know we're not on them yet. but they were the same patterns used in Singapore, which is a similar race in one way, but a very unsimilar race in terms of heat. This is very cold. Could be one of the coldest races we've had.
When they do go to slick tires, you can see offline. That will take a so I believe that you better keep yourself online, and if you make a small mistake, the penalty for that could be larger than normal.
Now what's happened here? Liam Lawson. Oh, something's flown up, and I don't think that's connected to the car in any way. But he's run over something, but it doesn't look like a part of the circuit.
A small piece of the floor, maybe a layer of the floor.
But that's once an engineer sees that, they're going to bring him in, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. They're going to have to take a close look at that.
Well, it's not quite. If it's the diffuser, let's say, which is critical in making downforce, you're not going to want to keep with an inferior car setup.
Really impressed by RB yesterday, anyway. They were showing very nice indeed. Both Hajar and Lawson up there in the top 10.
I'm really curious to see what Max can do today. Honestly.
I know.
I don't think we saw everything out of him yesterday. You know he's got to win and win out to have a shot at the World Championship. So I'm very, very excited to see what that team has to give him for qualifying.
Yeah, in an interview he admitted that the red flags had curtailed his program and he didn't get to run the way he wanted to and go through that program. So like you say, just hadn't had the time to, and we left last night with really no form guy, did we?
Exactly, and it was the same for Piastri, right? We don't really know what pace Piastri's got, and
or Leclerc.
I think we can probably assume those guys will be pretty good.
Well, we're talking about that 10-second gap to the crossover point, and you're wondering how much of a difference it makes right now. The guys on intermediates, fast man is Norris at 1:43.078. Last night, Norris was quickest in second free practice with a 1:06.02. So there's a real solid 10-second difference between slick tired car and
it's definitely getting there. At night, in this temperature, not a full field running. It's just, it's a little bit frustrating to have to wait as a driver for sure.
There's a rarity in Formula 1. Track temperature is the same as air temperature. 13.1 air, 13.5 track. Usually the track temperature is higher, obviously, because the sun's beating down on it, but we've had one of those weird days. And as we hit this moment of the evening, we're almost identical.
What's that in real money?
Yeah, good question.
Chilly.
Yes, right answer. Yuki-san, what's he got to say? I was impressed by Yuki Tsunoda yesterday. He not qualified, but he outpaced his teammate, and at just the right time, to be honest. He needs to be putting in good laps all the time in every second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was impressed by that as well. I thought it was much closer to Verstappen, I would say, than normal, and he's going to need to keep that up for sure.
Yeah, Helmut Marko was putting heaps of praise on Hajar, and that kind of was, Marko, once he starts talking, oh, that was a moment.
Yeah.
Do you see that? The hat's coming out of the pit lane, and the Mercedes sort of trying to get out of the way, or not.
Oh, by the way, the answer is 55 degrees Fahrenheit.
There you go. Yes, it does.
With a good first sector.
We've decided our favourite car is the iridescent, the fluorescent new livery for RB. Just suits Vegas, I think.
Absolutely.
Where was the race earlier this year where the white they used on the chassis was this pearlescent,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was really striking.
22 races, can't keep them all on my head.
No, you certainly can't.
Good lap so far by Hadjar at the moment. He's chasing Hamilton's 142.8. And he's put in the fastest sector in sector 1.
If we do get to a point where the track does get to dramatically drier, these last 30 minutes are the busiest 30 minutes of all time.
Rush hour. Fans blowing air into the side pods of the radiators.
And of course, he's the next up, if you will, into the grinder that is Red Bull. No apologies made, because it is a tough game. But yeah, Arvid Lindblad, very successful lead up to his Formula One career. Has done some Fridays and is in Formula 2 at the moment. And has equipped himself very well and impressed the Red Bull team with his work ethic and speed.
You covered the series over the where we all became aware of Arvid Lindblad, and you said, if I don't mean to misquote you here, but it was like the gunslinger is in town.
Oh yeah,
be careful.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a very friendly series. It's New Zealand. They love, as they have done for many years, having future stars come to their island, and also the likes of Lawson back in the day taking them on. And Yuki Tsunoda also took part in that series. So it's a great way to get up close and personal. I spent 6 weeks with the guy. But boy, did we get anything out of him? Did we? Heck. In terms of personality, in terms of hobbies, in terms of anything that had nothing to do with racing, Lindblad was like a blinkered racehorse. He was like, I'm here to win 18 points. That's why I'm here. Helmut Marko has sent me here. It was a last-minute decision. That's what I'm doing. And he did it.
Potentially rain incoming.
Oh no. Now it's interesting because officially it's just 10%, but it's the 10% we're getting.
Well, you know what they say about weather predictions.
Yeah.
It looks like there was a river running across the track.
It would certainly make qualifying an extra level of exciting if it does start raining again, and these teams really aren't able to do much on the slip tire. There's so much work to be done, and there's so many things I'm sure we'll see. This is only a section where they're doing heavy fuel roads, long stints. They haven't been able to do it yet.
Well, still looking at the tires. He's finally out there.
Music to a fan's
I know,
ears.
I was just going to say, it's a beautiful note, isn't it, when it's at top song. I'm going to miss these cars. I really enjoy this area, especially with the bigger tyres and the longer cars. Some people don't like it, I do. They seem just a bit more monstrous and they look more of a handful. I don't know whether they are or not, but they are the longest, biggest cars we have.
Replay, Charles Leclerc.
And that surface right there will be the most slick because of the paint.
Right. That red and white you see there, that's not going to dry up quickly, especially underneath a wall like that. And yeah, you've got to be careful, haven't you?
Watch his hands on the wheel.
Just flirting with the wall.
Yeah. Charles Paul here in 23, and doesn't like it, but yeah, that was wet. That was just wetness, just in the rear there as he accelerated out.
I got to talk to Fernando Alonso a little bit earlier, and they definitely are struggling with some of the things that they struggle with at Spa, oddly enough, which is also a very, very long straight, you know, slightly lower downforce car, and you know, hopefully they can find something to help that car, because they did seem to be struggling yesterday.
Out comes Freddie.
Now, getting out of a car in an FP3, that's an oddity, but there you go, he's out. Stroll.
So is Nico Hülkenberg. Yep. People are deciding there's nothing to be learned if it's drizzling out there.
Good point. I've got a feeling in my water, as they say. Pierre Gasly is due a good qualifying, at least. I don't know how the race will go, but he's shown some form of late, and I know he likes this track. He was talking on the stage today, and they had a magician doing tricks. He did this great trick with both the Alpine drivers and walked off stage and Gasly went, wait, that was fantastic. Come back, I need pole. Can you give me pole?
Pierre's getting his mind right, because I saw him play chess yesterday too in the paddock.
Oh, wow.
Chess.
Well, that's something I've never seen. For those of you who won't make to the paddock, there are something like 15 chessboards and 2 grandmasters here in the paddock inviting you to start playing chess with them, and they will play as many as 9 games at a time. And still beat you.
It is impressive.
Well, we now see some slicks.
Yes.
Yes, we do. The softest red compound.
Lando Norris almost slicks at the moment on soft. The only one at the moment.
I am surprised that it is McLaren to go first on the slicks. That is surprising. I'm curious to see.
Although it looks as though Lawson has as well. That's the only one. Lawson obviously probably came in to check the bottom of the car after that little something flew up from the bottom of the car. Not sure what.
It is interesting. There's been a lot of drivers pounding around, and still no one can really go faster than Lewis Hamilton, though, as well. These are Lewis conditions, so he does very well in these mixed conditions.
You just get a feeling he can do with 3 races or 3 rounds left, just to get a little bit of glimmer of hope, because it's been all down and nasty. Car's not right. Find yourself another driver, Hamilton said not that long ago.
Whoops. Backhand steps out. Championship leader controls it with a flick of his wrists.
Yeah, challenging conditions for you. Saw him just pop up with the rear wing just briefly there as well. Not fully committed to the DRS.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, the drag reduction system, that is the movable rear wing slack that gives them extra speed on the straightaways, are only to be used in a couple of designated areas, of which there are 2 here in Las Vegas. But during these practices and qualifying sessions, they can use it wherever they want.
And here's that replay of the back end. That's getting a little squirrely there for it.
Yeah, you can just see it in the surface still too. It's just a little darker than the drier patches, and that's really difficult because these cars have so much power. This will be the indicator, though. What lap can Lando do? And if it is significantly better than the current fastest of 42.809, then you'll see a lot more slick tires.
Just had a graphic come up saying rain in less than 3 minutes, which is probably why we did see a few guys step out. So, land your stations, folks. it's about to get rather interesting.
Yeah.
And if you've got an umbrella, use it.
Interesting, too, that drivers getting out of their cars rather than testing the wet conditions means they don't expect to have those wet conditions tomorrow night in the race.
I've not heard one driver or team say they expect the rain to continue past tonight. It was predicted that it would be until Friday night, and then it will be done. But we're in the middle of the desert. You've seen the weather around the States in the last few weeks, from California all the way to the East Coast. It could be different.
Yeah, it's just not enough grip yet on these tires.
Yeah, he's struggling. You can hear the note of the engine going up as he spins it up. Yeah, interestingly, Bortoletto, Gasly, and Hülkenberg, no laps. Still.
The teams and engine manufacturers work so hard on torque delivery in these cars, right? Because they're so powerful, but you can do so much with how you tune the throttle pedal, with how you tune how the power is delivered, torque delivery, and basically it's not traction control, but you can tune how you want to put down the throttle. And in these conditions, you can mess around with that a lot to just try to get the power down a little bit easier than normal.
So you would dial it back a bit because literally too much would lead to quick wheel spin and possible sliding, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And then when it goes in these conditions, it goes very fast. You see how quick the snaps happen, and you just don't want to be a victim.
So 1 minute away, less than 60 seconds to potential rain, but you tell us. You let us know in the crowd if it's raining where you are. And of course, that first minute, if it does rain, is always critical because so often in a rainstorm, it sweeps in and may take part of the track and then not the rest of the track. So also predicting where it's going to hit is another thing. Get caught out by that. New lid for Piastri this weekend to emulate his old 14-year-old, I think he was, RC car. We mentioned it last night, but it's a cracking lid.
Yeah, still not able to quite be at the same pace as Lewis Hamilton. So I'm curious to see how many laps they let him stay out there for and just try to keep generating more temp for those tires.
Another team with very few laps. That's Aston Martin, just one lap for both drivers at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised some of these teams don't send their drivers out for just a few laps.
Yeah, I mean, we're over the halfway point of this session. You know, you're not learning anything very quickly, are you?
Yeah, there's always, the ownership groups that are thinking, how many spares do they have in the garage, and what type of position do they put the team in should something go wrong? Because a lot of the times, a lot of owners and ownership groups will think about that.
Yeah. As we talked about in our opening segment, there's very little time at Formula One standards between the end of this practice and the beginning of qualifying. Well under 3 hours. So you don't want to break anything.
No, you don't.
Jeez. I had no idea it was going to be this wild.
Yeah, it was interesting. Ocon, when he was talking to the fans on the Heineken stage earlier today, was like, well, we'll try and put a good show on you, for you, but it could be one of the hardest sessions we've ever had, or I've ever had. And I thought that was an interesting comment because he clearly wasn't looking forward to these variable conditions.
here's the traffic jam we've all been looking for.
Yeah.
Well, we saw yesterday as well that it did take multiple laps for drivers to get these tires up to temperature. And you know what makes that even more difficult? Cold, damp conditions.
Look at
It
this.
could take 3-4 laps before these things actually get switched on.
Watch Verstappen.
Yeah, he don't want to be in that train.
It's going to go ahead and do the race simulation right here.
Here we go. McLaren versus Red Bull.
End of that story.
Little bit of help from the RB? No. Not time for that yet. Hamilton's on a good lap here.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be upset about that.
Oh, he was. I set that up, didn't I? He was flying. Look at the sectors. That has ruined all of that.
Oh, that is so dangerous. I would be very upset if this
Step on the radio. Yeah.
They did that yesterday, too, with somebody.
Look at the 146.7.
He was on such a good lap too.
Yeah.
And as a driver, when you see all those sectors on your dash, and when you see how much you're minus on the steering wheel with your sectors, you're like, I gotta finish this lap. Surely they're gonna get out of my way. And that's not what happened.
Here it is again. Lewis, you might want to drop anchor. No!
That was some nifty driving. That could have led to an accident that both of them would have need major repairs. We'll see it again from here.
He is fearless.
There's nothing that Lawson can do. He thought he was going to accelerate away, didn't he?
Yeah, again, just so much open track too right now. It's a shame that everyone's ended up in the same corner.
Monsieur Leclerc.
Yeah, and at the moment at the top too, Leclerc, he's just done a 141.8 to ellipse Hamilton, and Tsunoda also following that up with a 142.4, both on soft tyres, but the top of the table now changing.
Good run for Tsunoda.
Yeah, I'm keeping a watchful eye on all three, outside of Verstappen, of the RB Red Bull drivers. Such an important few races for them, because they will not announce who will be driving next to Max next year. But the hard money, if you're in Vegas, if you're wanting to make a bet, would be Hadjar.
Notice that front wing. Left of the nose bending ever so slightly at high speed. That became quite a controversy a couple of years ago in Formula One.
Yes.
And they had a funny term for it. I can't remember what it was. I think it was ferroelasticity.
Yes, that's the one.
Sounds awesome, honestly.
It does, doesn't it?
Very technical.
Exactly. Give me some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the doctor's office. How's my elasticity, doctor?
Well, I noticed you couldn't cross your legs, so not very good.
Not good. So, starting to get some quicker times in now. The rain that was predicted hasn't seems come down, or I haven't seen any signs of it. Verstappen on a quick one. Lewis.
And Verstappen is on a very quick one, 2.5 seconds. I mean, the track is now definitely in a more usable condition. I know there's a lot of drivers who look like they already went home, but I think they're going to be back in the car here very soon.
Yeah. Does it get you anxious when you know you want to get there, but the team plan is for you to wait?
I couldn't hate sitting in the pit lane more. You know? As soon as drivers are out there, I'm like, I'm going. Time to work.
All right, let's watch these next few laps finish in. Max Verstappen goes 139.156. That's the fastest lap of the weekend so far.
Of the session.
Of the session.
Now, is Lewis still on his...
Of course, sorry, yeah. Lawson goes second quickest, Leclerc third, Hadjar in fourth, big dragging by the RBs.
So this is Lewis's second set of tires. Same for Verstappen. I got to tell you guys, there is rain headed this way.
Okay. As Yuki Tsunoda goes top, 138.8. Well done to him. Yeah, fastest of this session so far. almost like this view with the glare. It kind of brings the Vegas feel to it, doesn't it?
This is a tremendous view of what these drivers are trying to do out there.
Remember, that camera lens is right next to his eye.
Yeah.
So this is what you see if you're driving one of these things.
It's in the padding, right?
Yeah, it's in the padding
Yes.
right next to the driver's eye. They were going for just that effect. Here's what the driver can see from the low height he sits in the car. Whoa, whoa, Gabriel. Just get out of the car, said, yeah, I'm not to do that.
Yeah, the extra week.
Almost bottling it.
Yeah. Nailed it.
So, time to chase 38-2. Here comes Lewis Hamilton. And he's up in the second sector. Currently in 7th.
Hamilton's preparation lap is about 4 seconds slower than the best time, and now he goes P1.
Yep.
So they're still having to do quite a bit of tire prep to get the lap time out of it.
Yeah, still getting chunks of time. I probably told this story before, but many years ago, covering sports cars, I was working with a driver, he used to drive with John Paul Jr., and he's quite a quick driver. So we watched the cars all swerving back and forth on the track before the race began. I said, well, Whitney, why do drivers do that? Thinking he was going to tell me something like, to get the tires even. He said, I don't know, I just did it because everybody else did.
That's something Jack Thomas said.
We don't want to be left alone.
No. Whitney Gans was the world's fastest art history major.
Wow. There you go, there's an accolade. Looking at beating the 137.3 set by Hamilton. He's gone quickest in the first 2 sectors. Comes down the back part of the course.
With a toe of
How much does an engineer play in just that awareness, or how aware are you of where the others are, or are you depending on your engineer to tell you, hey, you're about to get you're about to come up on so-and-so?
Well, when it comes to cars in front, I mean, you can have, there's so many electrical sensors in these cars that you can have those gaps on the wheel. So
Okay.
if you need to see gap in front, gap behind, you can see that on the wheel. The problem is if someone is on a big gap or dramatically off the pace, let's say 20, 30 seconds off the pace, that'll change very quickly. So it is, that's where it becomes a team effort. You are going to catch this person, and you need to figure it out on the fly.
Speaking of catching a person, watch Charles Leclerc,
Yeah.
purple in the first 2 sectors.
And he's going to hope that the Haas stays out of his way.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a reasonable amount of distance, and he's now heading out along straight, so he might catch it. Good lap, though. And good enough to put in a 1:36.469, the fastest lap of this session. Everybody on that soft tyre now as we take a look at the championship leader, Lando Norris of Somerset, England.
We really haven't seen everyone out there on a set of slicks yet.
Yeah, I mean, look at Stroll, no time whatsoever, or Hulkenberg, and that's a surprise. Hulkenberg likes to bring it around.
Yes. Seems like every time we see a Ferrari, there's either a green or a purple sector, so they're progressing quite well.
Yeah, I had a feeling watching they could come to the fore here, and it's been hard to predict for Ferrari. You know, 1 minute they're nowhere in, and then suddenly they'll come good in qualifying, or vice versa.
Interesting what Lando was doing there.
Yeah, he stopped.
He wasn't using his DRS. I think he was just trying to plan out the next lap, but I thought he would have wanted to get ahead of that Haas.
Yeah. Well, he stopped almost abruptly after that.
viewing screens are absolutely lighting up every single lap. As we're going. Still now, only one car to have not done a lap, Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
And he is out on track.
Finally.
Thought maybe he had a seat in one of the early poker games. Yeah. Apparently he's a really good poker player.
Is he? Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Smart guy.
Well, not all of his decisions over his career have been super smart, but that's a little harsh. He really did hold court, didn't he?
Not afraid of anything.
Sunny in the F1 movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He rates anything. I want to do desert racing in a truck. I want to do 24 hours of Le Mans.
In the movie, the actual man, the actor, Damson Idris is here this weekend. We might get a glimpse of him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There's something like 130 celebrity guests that we've noted or have been made aware of. It's a fantastic array of sportsmen, entertainers, singers.
I got to see Ben Affleck earlier.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Yeah. Jeremy Renner's here. Even heard that LeBron James might make an appearance. The Williams sisters, who make many an appearance, I've seen them at Miami, they're meant to be coming. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. You never know who you might bump into.
Piastri down in P19, so we're going to need to see what he's got over these next couple laps. Yeah, tried to get a bit too much out of it.
Didn't lose too much.
Looks like a preparation lap, yeah.
Okay.
It seems like the prep laps are, oh no, maybe heavy fuel. They could also be running some heavy fuel stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the spot there. It's like he almost pulled out of it, didn't it?
Well, I did. Which I've claimed, this is 17 is our corner now.
Bob's been.
I know that, yeah.
I did hear one thing that made me laugh. So don't stop at turn 12. Yeah. It smells rather fragrant. Shall I put it that
Oh, you don't say?
way? Yeah, he was telling the crowd, he was telling Behrman, he was like, don't get stuck there, man.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, Pérez was alluding to that a few years ago.
Well, it is the leaf burning season.
Well, in all seriousness, and I mean, you can confirm this, because I don't know, but I remember Villeneuve telling me this. Your senses are so heightened at this sort of speed when your life's on the line that you really do smell and hear and feel, and there's a lot of senses that you smell that you wouldn't expect, right?
Oh, 1,000%. Your senses are at the absolute highest of sensitivity because you're producing so much adrenaline. It's that fear of death adrenaline. It's maximum attack, and your heart's beating fast. Everything about your body is at the highest level of attentiveness.
So you're doing a full Homer Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
Hot dogs.
Yep.
Now, the Williams starting the show. Alexander Holden.
Sandbagging.
I got a feeling that the Williams are actually playing this quite cool because they've shown some real pace. Just how it comes to qualify. I'm really excited by, even now with only a few minutes to go, we really don't know, in my opinion, just who the top four will be, do we?
simulation.
It says 1 point minus 1.3, which is, you know, that's a pretty good laugh.
Yeah, and he backs off, so he's again, they know what they can do, and they're showing how interesting. Kind of know the answer, but what's the point of that?
Well, no one gets paid after FP3. That's one of those things where I said it yesterday about FP1, but
what are you hiding from the other teams? Obviously pace, but what are you gaining?
Well, I think because there's such little time left. You know,
they're probably trying to get another change in. They're probably trying to get, because if he finishes that lap, then he has to do another minute 30 before he comes in, and they might have a whole list of things on their test list.
So it's not just a case of not showing what you've got, it's more a case of why waste that?
We just don't know. Maybe there's a little bit more we can get out of it.
Exactly.
Getting a great shot of the Amex atmosphere, and there's the Academy car. That'll be coming up very soon. From Canada.
Interviews from the Heineken stage with Adriana today, and they are switched on drivers. I tell you what. You know, I expected some shyness, but I don't know.
Norris fitted, of course, but like you said, we're not really showing what we can do just now.
Both Haas seem to be trying to find some pace as well. They definitely want to get themselves on the wheel.
Give us a toe.
Who's going to lead who around for the next lap? I'm surprised Alonso actually dropped that far back. Thought he would have enjoyed a double toe.
Been a tough season for him, but he's kept his head. I'll say that for him. A lot of other drivers at his age or experience, put it that way, might have crumbled in the top team next to a four-time world champion, and then not really given a chance to learn from him and learn the car. Then going back to the team he was with before, but he's, kept his head.
Very impressive race in Brazil as well. Very impressive race for him.
And he needed it.
On the one-stop strategy, very just a strong, smart.
He did 52 laps on a medium tire in Brazil. That's the first thing I would have paid. It did for him,
Off the top. Yeah, preserve that tire.
Straight to P9.
I tell you, look at this. Racing Bulls, I know it's only 3 laps. I know the conditions aren't there. But again, they're much higher than they are at this stage of a Grand Prix weekend. Not even Verstappen. Second.
So more yesterday, but then looking at George Russell's lap. He's already a second quicker than what he was running. Second quicker than he won best.
Yeah, I was looking up the outline. Pole in 2024 was 132.3. Now, of course, the conditions were dry the whole weekend. And the 23 pole was 7. So that's what potentially, but maybe a 132. Albon hits the top with Williams, 134.8.
Should be.
Pops open.
very smart about his cars in front as well.
Well impressed. Given the circuit, the speed. No, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? 3 hours so far. Besides going off down a runoff, has had a major incident.
And 34.2 is quick. I mean, we're definitely in the window now of yesterday.
Now that's what we want to look at. And so does Lauren Mackey's. There's definitely rain out there.
Good Lord.
Whoa, Franco. Give me some of that tango, Argentina style.
DJ Tokyo Drift.
Yes. So as we tick down, why don't you boys see a surprise? I suppose 18th and 19th, Piastri and Norris, but we're not really thinking that they're trying to set times, are they really?
Yeah, I would love to see the lap from Tsunoda here to see how close he can get to his teammate, but the Williams right now, very impressive. But again, there's still so much we don't know, and that's exciting going into qualifying.
And like, for example, the team that didn't do any laps are now 6th and 7th, with Stroll 6th and Alonso 7th for Aston Martin.
And we really didn't see any long runs, you know, so we haven't got an idea of race tire depth, race stint. What does that look like?
Yeah.
A little bit different with 220 pounds of fuel on board for the Stroll.
Hey!
I keep seeing those very brief yellow flags pop up.
This could go to the top.
I just got some word from fans that they said the rain could be picking up out there. Maybe they're feeling some raindrops.
Aha!
So,
Good intel. We got our weatherman.
The session is done, so we're just in time.
Just in time, exactly. Which bodes a bit scarily for what's coming up next, which is qualifying for F1 Academy. And that's going to be tough for the drivers in that championship.
oops, see, they call that a yellow flag.
His tires aren't going to like that.
No.
Bortoletto doing the same.
Well, Charles Leclerc says everything you can.
Trying to find our qualifying break points. Where to start Q1.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh.
Everybody's having a last minute .com.
5 meters, it's going to help so much.
Racing line, I had to go to the wet.
Yeah, so obviously you didn't hear that Verstappen complaining that he had to go onto the wet part of the track, which obviously put him off. What can we glean with it? straight battle for the pole. And, that was a reasonable guess. Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, and McLaren. But when you mention that, and you look at what Harvey are doing, and you look at what Williams are doing, there could be an outside chance.
So it was raining a little bit there.
Yeah. Yep. Goes Mr. Lewis.
Everybody's going for that outside line.
And the reason why they're doing that, obviously, is that's online. Yeah. And offline.
Championship points. We'll take a break and we'll Academy
Guys, thank
race
you so
one.
much for joining me tonight. Make sure that you come back at 8 o'clock. Set your notifications, hit like and subscribe. I'm Elisa, does Vegas and travel. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.